Your mother-in-law, and you have this new experience and you feel good. But you can't be asked to be canonized as a saint now. You can't have the experience once. You have to be able to repeat the experience over and over again, over and over again. You got to make it look natural and easy and second nature. And when we repeat it over and over again, we activate that third brain, that subconscious brain, the cerebellum, that is in a state of being now. We've practiced it so many times, we don't have to think about it any longer. And when we're in a state of being, our internal chemistry has been memorized. And now we master forgiveness. We master compassion. And we don't have to think about it because we are it. So now, living in that state of being means the electromagnetic field that's around us is working in congruence with the mind and the body. The mind and body are working together. And now we're in the natural state of being, and it takes no effort. It's second nature. It's simple. It's easy. And if we can master that internal chemical state, just like the person who suffers, now we're talking about change. Is unlearning that emotional state. What is the emotional state that you've memorized, that you've decided that you are as a personality? That's not who you are. That's just some emotion that you think is who you are. So how does that happen? So you have an event in your life. Remember, experiences and events produce emotions. So you have an event in your life when you're 20 years old. And I don't know, I'm making this up. Your husband leaves you with 3 children. Okay? Now, that event produces some very strong emotions, right? And those emotions activate the primitive nervous system of survival, the fight or flight nervous system. And those chemicals of survival have us act in very predictable ways. Bring up the negative emotions of fear and anger and hatred. You ever notice that when you're angry, you're frustrated? When you're frustrated, you hate. When you hate, you judge. When you judge, you're jealous. When you're jealous, you're envious. When you're envious, you're insecure. When you're insecure, you're competitive. When you're competitive, you're self-centered. When you're self-centered, you're important. When you're important, you're arrogant. Same chemicals driving the brain for thoughts and behavior. But did you ever notice that when you're in love, you're happy? When you're happy, you're allowing. When you're allowing, you're unconditional. When you're unconditional, you're inspired. And when you're inspired, you've got great ideas. And you don't hold on to things any longer. New chemicals driving our thoughts and driving our behaviors. So geniuses. The event happens. You're abandoned now and you emotionally feel that feeling. Now listen to this. What people don't know is that as they remember the event, 2 years later, every time they remember the event, they produce the same chemicals in the brain and the body as if the event was happening. So your memory of the event signals the body. Suffer. 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 Suffer again. Suffer, suffer, suffer. So the redundancy of that, it goes event, produces memory. The memory then has an emotion that attached to it, and that emotion is called a feeling. So then every time the person thinks of the event that produces the memory, it reproduces the feeling of suffering. And they do this for years. The thought, the memory, the suffering. A year goes by, forget the thought. Just the memory and the suffering. The memory and the suffering. The memory and the suffering. Forget the memory. Let's just suffer. That's who I am. So who are you? You say, who are you? Oh, let me tell you who I am. I'm the person who's suffering because my husband left me with 3 kids when I was 20 years old. And I'm going to tell you all about it. And as I tell you all about it, I'm going to work myself up into this state so that I can reaffirm my identity. So then the person who can't change, the person who says, you see, I'm this way because my husband left me when I was 20. What they're really saying is, I can't overcome my attachment or my addiction to this emotion. I can't get it off me, and it's so part of me that I'm going to tell you why I can't change. It's because of this event. Is that it's not the event. It's the emotion. And when we overcome the emotion, and we have a healthy life, and a new marriage, and a great lover that we never knew we could have, and someone who's self-supportive, and has brilliant ideas, and is not needy. Oh my God, you think you care? You say, I'm so glad my husband left me. Because I got something great now. But the person who holds on never has the experience. Now, let's play a little bit, all right? Let's suppose, by the way, you're a great audience, I want to say that. So great, so great, so great. You know, the greatest gift you could ever give anybody, as far as I'm concerned, the greatest gift you could ever give anybody is your attention. How often do we give our attention to somebody, our true presence of mind? That's the greatest gift you can give anybody. So I'm honored, by the way, that you're paying attention so well. So, can we play a little bit more? Geniuses? Let's suppose now your husband, before he left you, was... We're going back. Was abusive, was disrespectful, treated you less, but you had thoughts about that, you had experiences about it. He left you, and you reviewed, you thought about, oh, I should have said this to him, and in that time he did that, and you're thinking and feeling, and you're conditioning your body to be the mind of suffering. And you're neurologically wiring the circuits in place to memorize these hardwired circuits of suffering. The brain is reflecting how you're thinking and feeling and acting. Now let's just suppose we take your ex-husband. We put him in a straitjacket. We wrap him up. We put him in a cannon. He's going to be safe, don't worry. He'll be safe. And we shoot him to the moon. Now, here's my question. He's gone. Would you agree that your brain is still wired for suffering? Would you agree that your body is still conditioned for suffering? Brain and body, mind and body are in alignment. You're the master of suffering. So, would you agree that you perceive reality based on how your brain is wired? So, guess who you pick in the next relationship? Same guy, different haircut. And maybe age. Out of 1,000 people, you'll pick him out. Because your brain is looking for that to fulfill your emotional needs. You know how we know that? Did you ever meet someone for the first time? And you say, hi, how are you? What's your name? Sally. Hi, I'm Joe. And then you say, where are you from? Mexico. My wife is Mexican. Familiar person. Emotional connection. Ooh. Where do you live in Mexico, specifically? Oh, I had some friends that lived there. When did you live there?
All my life.
All your life. Well, I was there from 2002 to 2004. Do you know those people?
I don't.
You don't? Well, I know these people. You know, I went to a wedding, and were you at that wedding?
No, I wasn't. Yes, I was.
Yeah, you were. Oh, we have a familiar event. Emotional connection. You own those things? I own those things too. And you've had those experiences? I've had those experiences too. I like you. If emotions are the end product of experience, and we share the same experiences, wouldn't we share the same emotions? Come on, geniuses. We have an emotional connection if we know the same people, if we've done the same things, if we've been to the same places at the same time. Hey, and you've suffered as much as I've suffered. Hey, we got something in common. As long as you don't change, we're going to have a great relationship. Right? So, now let's just say, you have a person that you walk with every day and you complain about your life with. You know, you walk with your girlfriend and you complain about your boyfriends or your husbands. Or, you know, you have a friend that you golf with. Thank you. You have a friend that you golf with, and because you golf with this guy every day, you complain about business and the stock market and politics. And you have that emotional connection with them. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to change. And you're going to say, I'm not complaining anymore. I'm not blaming. I'm not making excuses. And I'm not feeling sorry for myself. And you're walking with your girlfriend, and she's going off, you know. And you're just walking, and she says, what is wrong with you today? Aren't you going to jump in with me? Or your friend, you know, you're golfing with, and you're playing great golf, and you're focused on the game, and he's complaining about all these things in his business, but you've decided not to complain anymore. We're going to say, hey, buddy, you okay? You're not going to suffer with me here? I like you better the other way. And so in the process of change, we break our connection with the external world. We break our connection with the environment. We break our connection to all the elements that reinforce the automatic programs to define us as an identity.